Good morning, it's Saturday Morning Live with Johnyboy. We're down in Banbury in Oxford. Are we in Banbury?
Yeah, kind of. Thorpe Mandeville is where we are. Yeah, I'm Matt Williams from Stiled.
It's great to have Matt on here. It's been dying to get Matt on here for some time now. Got a bit of background. It's been great to been looking forward to getting you on here, Matt. This is Saturday Morning Live where we talk all good things landscaping, the consumer, the contractor, but also we talk about lots of other things, planting, mental health, donuts, you name it.
Good. So, wide array of subjects. I'm keen.
What a great day today, and
amazing.
Great location.
Yeah, we're really happy here. Yeah, we're at a farm in Thorpe Mandeville, where we've been operational now for about 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah. Okay. So it's still quite early days.
It's all porcelain.
It's all porcelain. Yeah. So my background was tops tiles. My father founded the Top Tiles business.
How long was that going for, man?
Well, yeah. So actually, my father is a bit of a misconception there in terms of my father founding the Tops business. He founded a business that bought the Tops Tiles business from a guy called Ted Derbyshire, who was had held it for a few years. But it was a bigger business that he ended up buying, so he kept the name of Tops Tiles rather than Tile Kingdom, which was his business. And so we grew it from there, and we listed it on the London Stock Exchange in 1997, and then had a great time rolling the stores out. And then I was chief executive there from 2007.
I think that's like roughly the time some companies like Salco's that they started around.
Yeah. Salco, yeah. It was a good business actually.
We got to mention this sort of thing, but just to let you know, we got to remind viewers as they join of where we are and who we're with Matt Williams now of Stiled.com, isn't it?
Yeah. Stiled.com, yeah.
And I keep getting this wrong. And Matt's had a real journey like all of us. It doesn't matter where you are in business. Was it a family-run business?
To begin with, it certainly was a family-run business. I mean, it was born out, like a lot of these businesses, it was born out of adversity, really. The original business that my father set up was a manufacturing business. We lived in Brazil. I was actually born in Brazil.
Right, okay. Very exotic.
Of course, yeah. I knew you could see that by just the way I looked, that I was born in Brazil.
Absolutely.
And the way I play football. And we came back, and my father was sort of very entrepreneurial, so he set up a tile factory in Wales.
In Wales?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Wales?
It was down in, I think it was sort of near, we banked in Cardiff. So I remember we were with the Midland Bank in Cardiff, and we stuck with
Midland Bank.
And we turned to HSBC, and anyway, so we were down there in the sort of valleys, and started this factory because there were lots of grants going around at the time in terms of great jobs, and that was Thatcher and all of that sort of period. And they had 3 stores that were with the factory in Wales, in London, and the factory had some quite big teething problems. You know, you think it's easy, you think, you get a bit of clay, you put it in a kiln and put a bit of glaze on top, and that's all you really need to do. Well, these ceramics...
You were making ceramics there?
Yeah, these ceramics were, ceramic industries are some of the oldest industries in the world.
Yeah. So your dad was a bit of a pioneer there, wasn't he?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, him and his partner Jeff, who he's still friends with now. And they set this factory up, and they had problems, and it was tough times in the UK at that time as well. So we're sort of talking sort of early 80s, that sort of time. Yeah. Thatcher hadn't been sort of long in, and
that was a real transitional period. At
that time as well, wasn't it? It was, and so. At that stage, the biggest use of tiles in the UK was around fireplaces.
Right. Okay.
Bathrooms were sort of carpeted and everything else. So they had this. They had a business which was struggling, and my father thought that there was a future in the tile shops, and his partner thought there was a future in the manufacturing, so they amicably agreed to separate and go their separate ways. In terms of, he's still friends with Jeff, was his name.
Did he succeed with what he was doing?
And so the factory actually sadly went bust.
Right.
But the stores, albeit it was tough times when they'd made that sort of breakaway to go on their own. But it was in that sort of tough times that my father came up with a sort of formula which very much empowered the store managers to think of it as their own stores and their own business.
Right. That's very clever, isn't it?
And it went from, being sort of...
Did they feel as if it was their own business?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, the way that we incentivized store managers at that time, I think, that my father did. Yeah, I think that was very... pioneering and very different approach to things, where usually you'd say, it was a franchise model, but this wasn't a franchise model. This was a model where you actually said, okay, if you do well and, you run this like your own business, and he educated them about the P&L of their stores, the profit and loss account of their stores, so they could see how all the costs and margins and everything was influenced.
So it was about taking ownership, really, wasn't it?
Exactly,
of what they were doing.
But also, crucially, offering that service as if it was your own business was the really important part, because when people shop for tiles, they don't really know what they're doing. They're probably shopping for tiles once every 10 years. 8 to 10 years, something like that. They don't really know what they're doing.
Is that an average, is it?
Yeah, pretty much. There is a bit of a thing where if people buy tiles, they sort of get into it and go from there. But yeah, they need lots of service. And I think when you think about paving and porcelain outside, I think I can see lots of similarities where, porcelain is relatively young in terms of as a nuance, a paving material outside. So, I think, again, lots of people need help and assistance.
I need some help and assistance now because Alison is on the computer. I can't see what's going on and who's joining us, but we've got 14 live viewers. We got 3 likes, guys. Give us a big thumbs up if you can. I'm with Matt Williams of Stiled. We're down in Banbury, and Matt's telling us a story about his dad's business and how they made it grow, and this story about incentivizing the store managers to believe that, to take some ownership of. Yeah. And do you feel these days that people don't take ownership of what they're doing? Do you think people take it?
No, I think the service is. Listen, I think that the whole world of digital is quite interesting, and the whole world of online retail. And I'm fascinated by how you can sort of actually maintain those, have an online business, but actually have a business which is really based around customer service and offering, very high levels of customer service. And I think that's something you can do. The use of modern technology is such that you can have good old-fashioned customer service in an online business.
I'm just reading some instructions. As usual, behind every good man, Matt, there is a good woman.
There is.
And your dad?
Yes.
Was your mum a good woman?
Yeah, well, very much so.
Did she help out in business?
Yeah.
Did she help?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was...
was your dad the sort of guy that would take advice?
Yes, no, absolutely. He'd take advice, and he'd been influenced by a lot of people along the way, and he was quite a sort of serial entrepreneur. There was always something else going on, and I don't mean to be rude now, because these are the points I want to try and pick up, because it sort of really excites me. I ain't going to say super excites me, because I am not Steve Irwin, though I was bit by a snake the other week, but that's another story. I just got to drop that in. When we look at like social media now and digital media, is that the information is out there to succeed, really, isn't it? Yeah.
But you're not going to succeed unless you really want to, deep down inside.
Yeah.
Because you can't buy that, can you?
No. You do have to have
the drive.
Yeah, drive. Yeah.
And
I think Listen, I think that people. I think people think that it's all too easy, and I think lots of times you get lots of stuff on social media and sort of saying that start a new business and you'll be a success overnight. It just never happens.
Your dad never had that, did he?
You need to work hard.
What was your dad doing in Brazil? What was all that about?
So his uncle very kindly took him and his cousin out to Brazil when they were 16 years old.
Right.
And he was in the coffee business, and so he took them out to the plantations and to sort of see all the coffee growing areas in Brazil, and he fell in love with it. And, you know, his contemporaries at that time, no one had been abroad, no one had been on a plane, and there was
what year was that,
going. So, okay, that's a good question. So that would have been 62, something like that, 1962.
Because people never really, package tours never really, like,
No.
people went on package tours in the 70s, I think it was, when they started going to Spain and all those sorts of places. So your dad was a real pioneer. And
so
really,
well, his uncle was, and so that was the first time my father had been abroad, and he sort of got bitten by the bug of sort of travel in Brazil, and so when my mother and he married, their honeymoon was a one-way ticket on a boat to Brazil.
Right, okay.
And he just qualified as being an accountant, which he didn't remain doing, but it got him out to Brazil. He went out after his articles to go and work for an accounting firm in Brazil, and then very quickly moved on to other things and sort of business and doing business in Brazil.
Right. I don't want to keep stopping, Matt, because it's really interesting. But we've got Sagren's joined us this morning. Rob Fry has joined us. Peter Hawkes from Scotland. We've got a few more actually joining us now as well. Lee down in, I can't remember where Lee, can't remember where you're from, but thank you for joining this morning. Saturday Morning Live. You know, Matt, this video at some point, though we haven't got massive amounts of live viewers, we never do, because that's how these live feeds work, but people do watch them later on, and they'll watch it all the way through. They want to know what's going on. The question I want to ask you is, do you think when you know you're in business now, do you think it's in your DNA? Do you think that you're business-like because of your dad, or is it something that you wanted to do as an individual as well? Or?
Yeah, listen, I've always fancied, for my sins, I've always fancied a startup and doing something from scratch. I think that, you know, there is, we had great times at Tops, and you know, I've still got a very sort of great fondness for the business.
Yeah.
You know, I was there for 20 years. I've
Long
sort of
time.
rolled out probably vast majority of the estate that they've got now. Did lots of the transformational work, led a team who did lots of the transformational work in terms of the website and sort of integrating that with the store. So we had great times and tough times too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there were tough times in there as well.
But the tough times is what makes us who we are as businesses and individuals as well.
You can definitely see the quality of a company in those tough times.
What was the tough times at Tops like when you look back?
Well, the global financial crisis was particularly tough for us. So I was a young CEO. I was 32 when I was CEO of Tops, and then we'd just taken on, in all of our wisdom, we'd taken on some debt to pay a special dividend to shareholders. So you basically pay debt. You take on debt on one side to pay out to shareholders on the other, and you know, so we had what they call gearing, leverage, borrowing, and lots of people look at the property as a sort of form of borrowing as well, because you're paying rent. It's like you're paying interest on a loan. So we had quite a bit of gearing, and we went into the global financial crisis where the market lost 25% almost overnight, and so we were quite heavily exposed. And as a young CEO with a relatively young CFO as well, who's working alongside me, who's now chief exec at Tops. We had some tough years there where, you know, the share price plummeted, and you know, lots of people within the business were asking questions about what's going on. So, yeah, we sort of learned. It was a sort of crash course in learning how to manage a business through very tough times. Isn't it? Yeah, it was amazing. Listen, it was stressful, no doubt about it, and you know, there were very stressful times, and I think that, you know, you take that responsibility very seriously in terms of, you know, we employed 2,000 people.
But that's what sort of molds you into a business and as a person to go through those tough times. Matt, I'm having a tough time this morning with Alison because I got to say hello to Lee Manning from Swindon. Lee, thank you.
Lee.
Yeah, Matt says hi. That's how it's done. Look, we're, you know, Andrew Stenzweski from Leicester. So Andrew, thanks for joining this morning. It's great to have Matt join us this morning, because it's not just about me. I just don't want to keep talking by myself, because I think I'll just go mad. Look, Matt, I got to say, I'm really hung up on sort of customer service, and it just drives me insane. We need to show the respect to the people that are actually putting food on our table.
Yeah.
And I love it when I go into Top Tiles, and I'm going to mention it again. Their ethos, and you can just see it. It's just plain to see their approach and how they talk to us is how they talk to me. I just love it. I feel valued.
Yeah.
And I suppose the question that I'm going to ask you now is, are you going to take that ethos through it into Stiled? Are you taking
absolutely.
that?
And you know, the responses that we've had in terms of reviews and customer reviews has been tremendous.
Right.
And I think that people are sort of very surprised by how we can sort of knit together that service with it is an online offering, but it's sort of more than that. You know, we've always got people on the phone and
Is it good to
Sagan,
talk?
Sagan, one of the partners at the business, who I've worked with for a long time, he's a big advocate of getting on the phone as well and actually having a conversation with customers rather than you can have this pinging backwards and forwards of messages, and actually sometimes let's just talk.
Yeah, nip it in the bud. You have those emails going backwards and forwards, and it's unfair for me as a business when Alison's doing so much. She's wearing so many caps, and I know that if I was there, I'd pick up the phone. Yeah. It's quicker, it's easier, it actually saves a lot more time.
Yeah.
And you build a rapport, don't you?
Yeah,
you know, with your customer. Just to let you know, we've got Jeff there from Sunderland, Carl Button down there in East Sussex. I hope you guys are doing good today. Just to remind you where we are, we're in Banbury, we're at Stiled, and we wanted to bring you something a little bit different. I'm getting some instructions in the background, and what have we got? There we are. We got a
little dance.
Yeah, no, we got Alison behind and we got Lucia over there, monitoring, the women making sure that everything's running nice and smooth. Matt, I'm just absolutely I'm blown away, and I'm really excited for you guys that we're actually part of this journey with you now.
Yeah, we're excited.
You know, and in life, there's always hiccups, there's always ups and downs, and sometimes people don't necessarily see things the same. But in business, you never burn bridges, do you?
No.
You never burn bridges. No. Like, you know, no, it's important because I've learned this from people like yourself in the industry, because I'm so passionate, and when I see something, I just want to say it. Yeah. And sometimes you've got to learn just to hold back, haven't you?
Yeah.
And just be a little bit more of a diplomat.
Yeah, don't fill the void too quickly.
No, absolutely. What would your advice be to some of these landscapers and contractors that are good at landscaping and good at laying paving, and they're good at putting that timber work up, putting those plants in, the design, but they're not always good with their customers, are they? Because they could be shy, they're introvert, you know, they love their job. But what would your advice be to them when dealing with customers? What should they offer their customers and in communication?
I suppose you've got to remember we're all customers, aren't we? I mean, we're all. It doesn't matter what you do in life. You know, we're all customers, and we know how we like to be treated, actually. And I know they've always said that the golden rule is treat people as you'd like to be treated yourself, but it's actually the golden rule should be treat people as they would like to be treated.
Full stop.
And I think that's a good sort of nuance on that rule. And we're all customers, and actually, you know, life's a bit easier if everyone sort of goes about their daily lives with a bit of a smile, and you know.
Yeah, and I think you just got to take it as a matter of fact, you know. And I think this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. I seen a social media influencer the other day. He wasn't a paver or a landscaper as such. He does timber frame, and he'd been sharing stuff on social media, and his customers had asked him not to share some stuff on social media. Didn't want him to film any more about what he was actually doing, though he was very good. He's got a fantastic name in the industry, and he said that was absolutely fine. But I could detect that he felt a little bit upset by it. But for me in that situation, I would say, hands up, absolutely fine. And we got to take it as a matter of fact. That's how it is.
Listen, I think there's so much sharing going on at the moment in the sort of digital world. I think we need to respect people's right to privacy, and if they don't want to have something shared, then I think that's important. And
absolutely. But the thing that I was picking upon, I felt he still felt uncomfortable with it, and I think for me, if a customer said to me, "John, can you not do that?" I wouldn't feel uncomfortable about it.
Oh, I see.
Straight away, I go, absolutely,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problem. You know, it's their garden. They're inviting you into their home, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think we have to respect that. Well, look, we've got 19 live viewers. We're going to keep this going for a little while, Matt. There will be people joining us now, so we just got to remind our viewers that we're in Banbury. We're at Stiled. They're a paving importer and a supplier, a purveyor of fine products.
Porcelain paving, yeah. And
Purveyor of fine porcelain.
Yeah.
Those words.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to hand it back now. We're getting some instructions over here. Matt, the digital media, we're going to touch upon this again. Are you an avid sort of like Twitcher, Twitter, whatever it is, whatever they call those, or on Instagram? Do you enjoy it?
Twitter less so. Instagram and Facebook more so now.
Yeah,
more so than I was. But yeah,
are you getting into it a little bit more?
Yeah, a bit from a business perspective. Yeah, it's a sort of it is a meaningful channel for us, and it is a meaningful way of communicating with our customers. You know, and
have you got involved in a little bit more now with the business?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have. We've got. I have got more involved, and actually, you know, it's actually what's quite interesting is when you come from running a business where you've got a marketing department, and you know they're responsible for all these sort of things. Actually, you really never understand the detail unless you're actually doing it yourself and actually at the coalface doing these things. So
at the coalface.
It's it's been fascinating. It's been really good fun actually going back and sort of dealing with customers again. And
do your kids see the
difference?
Yeah, you're on it now.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. But our daughter's sort of teaching us how to do TikTok, and we did our first company TikTok video. My daughter Romilly did the first company TikTok video the other day, and I think she had more views than almost anything else we've done.
Did she really? Yeah. Well, it's good, isn't it? You know, and that's a whole other thing. That is, you know, TikTok. You know, it's so hard to keep up on all of it, isn't it? You know, and people say to me on a regular basis, how do I find the time to do the things I do? Just recently, for me personally, it's been difficult because we haven't had the internet connection because we've been down in Swansea, and I feel.
You felt that, did you? Not having a good internet
connection. Do you know about digital dementia?
No.
Do you know about digital dementia?
Is this part of how digital media affects your brain?
Yeah, what happens is that the same effects that you have when you're drinking alcohol and gambling is the same effect as when you're on your phone, and you release a chemical called dopamine.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you become resistant to it.
Yeah, but you can go to Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, but there's nothing now for the social media.
Yeah.
So, but what we got to remember is the positivity about social media is that though you see out there all the time, we see it on a regular basis, and I think it absolutely drives me insane that certainly with, you know, Sky News have a YouTube channel, they have their Instagram and all their social media, and I think they absolutely just send out this message all the time, this narrative of just what they want to think is good and what they think is bad, and I think that a lot of it is quite negative in so many ways, and I think they should start the news. Do you remember ITN years ago, ITN News, there was a broadcaster called Gordon Honeycomb, and they would say at the end of the news, and finally. So there was all these stories, and it was a good story.
They'd leave you with something positive.
Absolutely. Do you think they should start?
Yeah, it would be
start the program with a good story.
There is I mean, in marketing terms, they sort of talk about agitating pain states, don't they? Where that something's wrong. And I think that the sort of the equivalent in the news world is just bad news, and they're agitating people so that they get their attention.
Do you think it has a negative effect because of what they're doing?
Definitely, without doubt. I mean, just think about the amount of times that the word crisis has been used in the last decade. You know, it's just ridiculous. And so, by definition, not everything can be a crisis.
No, and
we can't be in a crisis state forever.
There's a word I use, two words I use every day, great day.
Yeah.
Not just have a good day, have a great day. It's so important to have a great day. I just got to say hello, Matt. Now we've got to say hello to Mario Rizzi, who's a contractor, quoting another porcelain patio. Mario, if you're looking for some porcelain, this is where you need to come. Would you be pleased to give Mario a quote?
Very happy. Yeah,
there we are.
Very happy.
And we have top notch. Our Steve down there near Milton Keynes. Steve with his Steve.
Just down the road.
Yeah, Steve. I keep forgetting your lad's name, the lads that work with you. There's so many names I should remember, and it should be there in my mind now, but I can't remember. Steve, are you working today? Steve's always an avid follower of this channel. He's always tuning in.
Very good.
Steve, if you're looking for Porcelain, this is where you need to come. Your range of products. Let's get on to that. I want to know about your range of products. Do you feel you've got a good range of products?
Yeah, and it's building all the time. So it's all Spanish or Italian.
Why? Why Spanish or Italian?
Just because that's where the contacts were, really. So, you know, I didn't think I'd be back in the tile business, to be honest, when I left Ops. I went on and ran another retail business, but there's lots of connections there that, you know, relationships that go back a long time.
From the 10 mil to this outdoor.
Yeah. And so, you know, people were talking to me about the 20 mil product, which was just coming in when I was leaving Tops.
Did you think it would ever take off outdoor Porcelain?
Yeah, I could see that it was. I could see that
years ago.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see it took off quite well then, and then you had the whole COVID situation, which sort of disrupted shipping lines and made the Indian sandstone very difficult to get hold of. And Indian sandstone, as you know, is sort of a good chunk of the market. So it meant that people embraced porcelain, 20 mil porcelain, in a way that it probably wouldn't have done otherwise.
Do you think?
And I think that they're probably going to stick with it.
Do you think people made the transition to porcelain because of it's better for maintenance here, or do you think they moved to porcelain because they couldn't get the sandstone?
I think the latter. So I think that's what made them move to porcelain, and then I think everyone's, both the fitters and the customers' reaction to porcelain since then has been so strong that I don't think they're going to go back in the same way. I don't think it's going to go back to how it was before COVID, where Indian sandstone was the
trend we have now with porcelain is not because somebody decided to showcase it and then everybody started using it. People are using it now because they couldn't get the sandstone.
Exactly. That's how it happened. And actually, the European porcelain manufacturers have struggled to keep up with the demand.
Have they really?
It's been sort of exponential how much porcelain has taken of the market. And I don't see it going back. Actually, there may be sort of little tweaks, and I think that the market will develop. So what I see in the porcelain paving market outdoor now is very reminiscent of what I saw in the indoor market 15 years ago, where it's lots of replicating stone and things like wood, but actually little in terms of pattern and colour and design. But I think that will change.
I'm listening. I just got to read this because it's all going on here this morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Live with Johnyboy. We've got Matt Williams from Stiled.com, and we've got lots of people coming in and joining us. And thank you again. Really, really appreciate it. Stephen Ball says, grouting a porcelain patio with you both on my headphones. So right now we've got Stephen Ball, who is actually grouting a patio, listening to the live stream. Stephen, that's absolutely fantastic, and I really appreciate your loyalty and your endeavour to learn about what we're doing. We want to know what you're grouting it with, and we want to know a little bit more about what you're doing. So if you want to drop us an email, and I tell you what, Steve, I tell you what you can do. Why didn't you at some point drop Stiled.com? What's the email address here?
contact@stiled.com.
There we are.
Or my email is matt@stiled.com if you want to contact me.
There you are, Stephen Ball. If you're listening, because they want to see your pictures, don't you?
We do.
Would you like to see what all these contractors are doing?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah. No, genuinely. And let us know how we can help. Would it be a possible chance sometime in the future that we could actually feature some of these contractors' work in a brochure in the near future? Love to. I mean, what we're saying about our product is that we want to create spaces that our customers want to share. So, and that's share with their family, share with their relatives, but share with other people online and through social media. And
he says, sounds good.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Steve, these guys want to see a picture, and I tell you what, can I give you a bit of advice from a business side?
I would love
to. Dare I give you advice?
Of course.
I think that what you should do with every order you send out, you should send a pack of sweets.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I think just a little
bit
bag
of
of
kindness.
Haribos.
Yeah.
With me, I like chocolate eclairs. I do, right? You know. So I think, I think as a contractor, seriously,
we'll have it contractor specific.
Seriously.
Wine gums or
No, honestly, it does work. I think as a contractor, when you have your delivery, you think yes, a pack of slabs, and you think, oh, great, fantastic, and then you see that pack of sweets, that burst of that sugar, that energy that you need to get into that job and start laying your porcelain. So I'm just giving Matt some advice.
I'm going to take you on board.
Ex-CEO of Top Tiles, who opened 350 odd stores across the country, and Johnyboy, a little 5'8" contractor from South Wales, and here we are. I know we can move on a bit rapid now. So Carl Button says, Stiled have a great service. I ordered samples and got them straight away.
Thank you, Carl.
Carl, we want to know what you ordered. So thanks very much for that. Just to let you know, and I got goose pimples about to say this, but there's a difference with this company than with a lot of companies. I want companies to give you some value, and you offer a bit of a trade discount, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, with the discount code JB10.
JB10.
We're going to keep that open for the summer, and we'd like to, we'd love to talk with fitters about actually setting up accounts and what we can do for them and help them out. We're also stocking mortar, slurry mix, and slurry primer and grouts now, and more to come.
Matt, it's really difficult for some of these contractors sometimes to actually get supplies as well. So that is a great service. So could you just repeat that? So you're sending some porcelain, some packs out, and you're sending those slurry primers and those grouts as well.
With it, and it's all free delivery. We'd like to sort of talk to people about if they want to get full-size samples. I mean, we offer free cut samples, more generous cut samples than most, so 10 by 15 cut samples, which we can send out, and that's the next day delivery on that.
With sweets?
With sweets now. And then we're also we're also offering our trade customers, our fitters, landscaper customers, specific day of delivery, and also an AM or a PM slot. So we know that one of the pains that landscapers and fitters feel is around delivery and being let down on delivery. So we're really looking to try and push forward and give them more in terms of slots, AM or PM slots on specific days. So, and all free.
As a go-between, I know you can hear me now. This is Saturday Morning Live with Johnyboy, with Stiled.com at Matt Williams. But as a go-between and to support you guys, is that what I'm going to say to Matt now? I'm going to say, Matt, you're going to continually sort of support and value us, aren't you? After, and would you have a pint with a landscaper?
Of course, I'd love to. Yeah.
You would you?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
we're throwing a bit of a do, aren't we?
Oh, well, tell us a little bit more about it. Tell us a little bit more about it.
So we've got the Stiled Landscaper Fair coming up on in collaboration with your good self, Johnyboy, and Landscaping Survivor.
So we're having an event.
We are having an event. We're having a do. We're having an event here. You can see the diggers all getting ready.
Are we having dancing as well?
You are going to be dancing, John. Yeah,
you
are going to be dancing. On September the 9th. So save the date. We're going to get the
September the 9th. There's an event in Banbury. Okay.
It's a free event to all survivors. It's a free event. You can just go on to the Stiled.com website where the tickets are available there. You just go on and register for the tickets.
And you're having a number of people coming along, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yep, we've got Ruby, we've got Instamac, we've got Bow coming along. Hopefully, we've got Grabo coming along as well, because we're very much into sort of health and well-being for landscapers and making sure they look after themselves and sort of extend their careers as long as possible, because I think lifting is a big part of that, how people lift.
Look, Matt, we got to say that I think the one of the most important things is that what we talk about on a regular basis, that we talk about health and safety, and Ruby's done loads on health and safety. But I'm not saying you're professionals in the mental health, but if anybody wanted to give you a ring and say, I just want to have a chat to you and just, vent, you'd listen, wouldn't you?
By all means, I may have that pint with them at the same time, but yeah.
But no, seriously, we all struggle when contractors go into merchants in the morning. That's the thing. They'll say, "How you doing?" And they'll spill the beans on what's been going on. And I'm not saying you're offering that service, but it's so important. Oh, we've got somebody waving in the background over here now. We've got a Mexican wave going on here in the office,
Yeah.
Showroom. So Carl Button said he ordered the Colworth Grey and the Luxborough Natural. Got to read out what people are saying. And I've been laying the Belmont.
Yes, I saw that. That's beauty.
What a beautiful looking. Yeah. I've laid my first styled patio nearly completed.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing it.
It's a good size actually. That's the
76.
Which is just that bit bigger than the 60s, which we're seeing.
Still
but it's actually not too bad in terms of handling and the weight. It's the 60 120s that I love. I mean, they're wonderful looking things, but there's quite a weight there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, just to let you know, we're with Matt Williams. I've got to keep reminding people because people come and go at the moment. We've got 18 live viewers. We had 17 likes. I want a couple more at least before we finish, but people will be watching this later on. What slurry does Matt recommend?
We've got Instamac, but we're probably going to be stocking the Bal as well. So both companies which I've dealt with for a long time, actually.
Yeah, Kieran and Bal as well.
Yeah,
great guy.
Kieran used to work for us at Tops.
Right, okay, that's right. Yeah.
So, he's a great guy. So.
Look, like I said, just be reminded that there is an event going on here in Banbury. You don't necessarily need to be a member of the Landscape and Survival Group forum on Facebook. If you want to come along, are you going to be posting something on social media?
Yeah, we will do. Yeah, but I mean, you can already register. The tickets are available through the Stiled.com website.
Right, okay.
So you go along there and put it in your basket. It's free of charge, and you come along, and it should be a really great day. Lots of speakers there, and people from the industry, and actually sort of lots of people talking about porcelain, because I know that it's relatively young porcelain sort of breaking into the paving market, and I know that there's probably terms that people have heard and maybe aren't brave enough to say. I actually don't know what that means, whether it's rectified, vitrified,
Absolutely.
all of these things. And actually, there's ask the question. We're here. I've been in the porcelain or the ceramics market for all my life. So we know what we're talking about, and we'd be more than happy to help if anyone's got a question, and even if they think it's. I always say there's no silly questions really.
No,
if you don't know what it means, then pick up the phone, give us a shout. We'll be happy to talk you through it.
I think the thing is, Matt, when you're a contractor, you're a landscaper in the industry, you're regarded as like a master. You're not necessarily a master of one trade, and but they're still very good at what they do. And some of these guys are out there by themselves, and they don't necessarily have people to talk to. And many years ago, I always found that nobody wanted to share the information. Nobody wanted to help. But what we're finding now is, I think the benefit for a landscaper that would want to attend this event is that they'll learn massively from other landscapers. That have made those mistakes, James Sharp from Kent Gardening, he says, good morning.
Good morning,
James. So Kent, always an avid watcher of this channel. So Kent, James Sharp in Kent, thanks you for joining this morning. Lots of waving going on in the background here. Like I was saying, Matt, it'd be good for contractors to come along and to speak to. And I've seen it. I've seen the excitement when they're there, talk to other contractors because they've seen them online. They start to recognise them, see who they are. We've seen these at these events before. But there's a massive benefit for coming along to this event. It's not just about selling product. It's about building a community and a hub of education, which is what what we want, isn't it? You know?
And we're going to have it on our new outdoor show space, which you're starting to see the beginnings of here.
Are you excited about this?
Yeah, I really am. Yeah. So it's going to be, I don't know, 350 square meters that we're out there in terms of lovely Oxfordshire countryside, and we're going to be able to show off some product and chat people through porcelain and why it's such a brilliant product. I mean, and it is an amazing product. I know I sort of bang on about this all the time, but the benefits of porcelain, once you get your head around it and you become more comfortable with it, incredible benefits for
Yeah,
Porcelain for the customers. Where I just think that you're probably going to get customers that are going to rave about their patios for a long time
because it's going to look good for a long time.
It's going to look good forever.
Yeah, and I think the thing is certainly with Instamac, their knowledge in civils is excellent.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean, that's their heritage is right.
Yeah. So if once again, you know, what we've got to do is remind you of, if you are a landscaper and a contractor and who's never had that information and that help, and you're starting out in business, you may have been going at it a few years, but you probably don't realise is that there's lots of things that you need to know. Even for me, and certainly with Instamac, they're really geared up from the civil side, the road building side, that end of the marketplace, which is key to the success of a good patio, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it is. And Bow as well. They've got a lot of heritage in more the interior side, but actually the porcelain side and their grouts particularly are very good.
I had somebody say the other day, I got to take my hat off to Bow because they really spent a lot of money in research and development. And somebody said to me the other day that their products aren't cheap, but a good job ain't cheap anyway, is it?
No.
And a cheap job isn't good, is it?
No.
So when we look at that, Matt, I think this is the thing with Bal Adhesives, they've put a lot of work into education. Dave, what's Dave's surname out there? Dave.
Oh, the guy who does the demos. Yeah,
Brilliant.
I can't remember his.
Brilliant, an absolutely fantastic lecturer. And we attended up there a couple of years ago, and I think we had about 55 people attended.
Amazing.
And do you know what it was? It was a thought-provoking moment for all those contractors because they started thinking about things in a different way. For example, I was talking about, I did a little video this week, it wasn't a video, but it was like a little talk about considering what paving you should use in a south-facing garden.
Yeah.
Should you be using a dark?
Yeah.
And this is the
interesting.
this is the benefits of the tiling side because you know you're going to conduct the heat with a darker slab. It's going to get quite hot, and the considerations of should you look at other ways of laying the paving because of the heat that it contracts.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you have to think about those types of things. You know, it's Matt. There's something that I keep going back to my head this morning, and I'm a positive guy, and every day I like to think life's going to go on. We've got a roof over our head, and you know, but I still think about this media thing because it's there, and I look at businesses sometimes, and I look at different businesses, and I look at the products that they're selling, and just because I'm not buying that product doesn't mean to say it's not going to keep selling.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Because I look at a product and I think, who's going to buy that if we had a tough period? But life goes on, doesn't it? People buy those products.
Yeah, they do, yeah. And, you know, you've got to be able to, I think if you offer value to customers, and I think that more and more customers now have kind of done everything inside. I mean, people have been moving around less, and they've probably done most of the rooms that they want to tackle inside. And actually,
do you think people are not moving around so much at the moment, or do they trying to sell out?
Well, definitely when things get tough, they move around less because it's really just people who are compelled to move at that point. Because if we do see any sort of fall off in house prices, which listen, we're not seeing at the moment, but if we do,
because but obviously with Tops, you've looked at people's buying habits, of course, haven't you? Like in depth.
And we're going through a very weird time at the moment. So the time that we're going through at the moment, so. You can, I don't know if this is going to be interesting for your customers or not, probably, but basically you always saw consumer confidence and house prices move together in tandem.
Right.
So as one went down, the other one went down. There may be a small lag of a period of time of a few months, but pretty much they stuck together like that.
Yeah.
So they ran in parallel with each other. What we're seeing now is that they've dislocated. It may be a temporary thing, but you've got consumer confidence has really gone south. And house prices continue to go up.
Matt,
it's quite difficult.
Let me just remind you at this point, like this is confirmation, and you can have it from the horse's mouth, that my wife's consumer confidence hasn't gone south. She loves buying. She really does. She loves buying, and she was recently.
Our wives are single-handedly holding up consumer confidence.
I'm telling you now, Matthew. Right, it was when she was in Cardiff the other day. She liked lots of dresses that she's seen down there, and I think that I had to hold her back. Really, I felt a little bit like, Ricky Sunak.
Yeah.
You can't keep buying, and or can you? Like, you know.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people. Again, back to this media point as well, isn't it? Consumer confidence and the media have sort of a close relationship with each other as well. If you're constantly bombarded by these things, but you know, there's a lot of people who are out there who don't listen to the media that much, and actually just go about their daily lives, and they're quite comfortable, and you know, they're happy, and it's those sort of people that you need to focus on if there are tough times.
Yeah.
That you've got to remember that there is still business out there.
And it will carry on, won't it?
It will carry on.
You know,
and you've just got to concentrate on giving the best to your customers, and that's very much our mantra.
I think given if I was to sort of give some advice to contractors out there, and when you're using social media, I think what they have to consider is where they want to be with their business, what part of the marketplace where they want to be, and they need to start refining about how they're promoting themselves. And I think that if you start refining the information that you're putting out there, you will attract the certain type of clientele that's going to keep you you in business and keep you rolling.
Yeah.
And it's the message that you send out there is so important.
Yeah. I mean, the sort of I mean, for landscapers and certainly people who are running sort of their own small businesses, I always think the best form of marketing is referral. And if you can feed that engine of referrals where, you know, everyone's raving about what you've done, I think that serves people very well.
Well, apparently I'm in deep trouble about mentioning about the dress. Cheers, Lee. Lee, you will be having your Ruby Grabo very, very soon. When Alison stops going into the shops buying those dresses, she's going to put it in a bag, put your address on there because we have got it, and she's going to be sending it out to you very, very shortly, Lee. There we are. We've shamed her live on this podcast this morning. We've been going for 46 minutes, 20 seconds. Matt, I'm not finished with you yet. We got to keep going with this. What's the future for Stiled? How do we see it? How do you see it growing, and where you're going to be? You must have had a forecast and a projection of where would you like to be in 5 years? Let's say 5 years.
5 years. Listen, I'd like to have a sort of decent business, really. The one that, you know, we can.
You probably need to go into the sweet business.
Probably wine gums is the answer. No, listen, we'd like to. We're getting a really good buzz from getting back with customers and really being on the sort of coalface with customers again. And you know, the business. Yeah, we'd like to employ a few more people and to help out and.
Maybe a job. Matt, I'm going to put something to you. I know I've asked you a question. I know it's rude of me to interject, but this is what you have to do on podcasts. You have to be rude. You have to be rude. You have to be ruthless in podcasting, if that makes sense. What if we people need to learn? Why don't we create some learning tool, a learning day, a learning facility?
No, you mentioned this before. I'm very keen. Yeah, no, I think it's you know, the market is crying out for it. You know, there's such a shortage of people who can install this product, and you're seeing more and more people give DIY a go, actually, just because they can't get installers.
I think I'll be totally honest with you, right? And I don't know, I haven't got a clue what the percentages is, but I think that if you offer a learning aid in some respect, you'll find that the amount of patios being laid across the country would be a lot more successful than what it is at the moment, Matt. And I really believe in this. You know, I've shared this and I spoke about this for such a long time. I think there's a large percentage of patios investments, it doesn't matter what it is, that isn't laid correctly for whatever reason. And I think that what we need to do, we need to look at the safeguards to improve and to actually offer this service to people. If somebody wanted a trade day of like Instamac or BAL or talking about understanding the products, because isn't it valuable to understand the products that you're selling to your
Totally. Yeah, totally. And I think that just back to your question around where do you want to see the business in 5 years' time? Absolutely. No, because I think the main thing that I'd like to do, which I'd get a buzz out of as well, is help this element of design come through in terms of outdoor paving. I think that, you know, we're seeing some great product, but it's all quite focused on copying natural products, so copying stone or copying wood. Actually, there's so much more that porcelain can do. Right. And there's so much more that we can see in terms of design and sort of starting to bring people's interiors outside and sort
even more than what
I think there's a long way to go in terms of colour, pattern. It's amazing the stuff that you can do with porcelain.
When we look at like paving in general, we look at where we describe it as a wearing course. What we walk on: tarmac, concrete, carpets, laminate flooring, a hardwood floor, an oak floor, and whatever. Right? It's a wearing course. That's a civil engineering term.
Yeah.
But really,
it's more than that, isn't it?
We got to look at the visuals, haven't we?
Yeah.
The visuals, the eye level, because we don't walk around with our heads down, do we?
And customers don't think of it like that either.
No, but what we're doing this morning is that people who are watching this now is that we're starting to provoke them and push them into actually thinking like that, because some of these porcelain products can be at an eye level. So say, for example, if I was a contractor and I was in a garden and I've laid a patio, I'd be chomping at the bit to tell the customer that old concrete wall could be cladded in a porcelain style plank.
And you're going to see some amazing things at the outdoor show space here in Colworth when we do the event. We've got one of the designers that I've used before who's coming over with some wall cladding products, some amazing colours.
Oh, they really?
It's going to be brilliant. Yeah, you'll love it.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It really is exciting because you can basically prop, paving with real shots.
I can call you
colour.
Matthew, can I?
You can.
Just for a moment, right? When we talk about those products, you do get excited because it can be absolutely boring when you're doing the same thing day in day out. Do you think the excitement and the enthusiasm can actually persuade a customer to actually have something that they never even thought they wanted?
Listen, I think that the role of the fitter is immensely influential as well with their customers. And actually, if you give them just that little bit of confidence to take a bit of a risk, we're not talking about going crazy, but certainly if you're using it on a wall, that can be relatively easily changed, but customers absolutely rave about it when they do put it in. They have that bit of colour, and they're all of a sudden
suggestions, isn't it? As a contractor, make suggestions.
Be confident, and the result in terms of how much more that customer will rave about you and their products that they've installed.
Because that customer's not going to say, "Oh, he just wants more money out of me," but they're saying, "Well, actually, for next year, you can actually think about possibly doing this," and then they think about it, don't they? I love this. We get lots of information in the background here at the moment. James Sharp, Kent Gardening. He says, "I find the media knocks consumer confidence significantly," and you would agree with that. That's what we spoke about.
I do, and I think again, I've always said it to the people in store, the people who used to work for us at Tops. I said, it's your job. Part of your job is, that customer has come into store. They want to be given confidence, right? They want you need to be confident.
Absolutely.
As installers and in terms of ourselves as sort of purveyors of porcelain paving, we need to be confident. We need to give those consumers confidence.
That's a great word, a purveyor, isn't it?
Purveyor.
I love that. Purveyor of porcelain products. And Ian Crawford in Scotland, Ian Crawford says, German DIY supermarkets give regular lessons to all trades. It's like a bit like B&Q, I suppose, isn't it? Did it?
Wix used to do a reasonable job of actually.
They
did. Not so much of in person, but they actually sort of helping the DIYer. I suppose they were probably the best of the three.
I visited on Sky News this morning. We've had a report coming in that Richard Dow, what do people think of using SBR on cement as slurry or porcelain? What I would say, Richard, I can answer this one, Matt. Anyway, it's my turn now. And Richard Dow, what I would say is that when you look at people like Instamac and Bell, they spent, I have to say aspects as well, and I'm going to remind you that because I've used their products for some time now, is that these people have spent a lot of money on research and development. Yeah. There's a reason for that, because it's called accountability, isn't it?
Yeah.
Accountability. Yeah. So when you're mixing up your own, I always find, Richard, when you're mixing up SBR with your own cement, what happens is that it tends to dry up far too quick. And SBR is good. it does work, but think about what you're actually doing and think about the cost. And I wouldn't necessarily take a risk with a product when it's looking so good and you've done all that work, you've got the ground levels, and use a product that has some accountability.
Definitely.
And read what it says on the tin. Read what it says on the tin. It's so important. Matt, at this point now, we are going to have Alison's. Sorry.
Got 5 minutes.
Got 5 minutes before we finish. Matt, at this point, you can ask me anything you like. You can interview me now. Not because I don't want to ask you any, but ask me anything you like. Here we go.
What do you think are the big pain points for your the community in terms of porcelain paving, and what do you think is the thing that we could really help with?
I'll be totally honest with you, and I've said this before. I think it's so important. I think that when we look at products, when we start to understand products, is that it's about getting the information out there, trying to just it's on offer. They can take the information, or they don't have to take the information. But learn from your experience, learn about the manufacturing process, and understand the words and how it works, and start understanding industry vernaculars, the words to describe the products, because when these guys start using these words, and it doesn't matter what level of education that you've had, but when you start understanding these words and start using it in a more constructive way, it generates a lot of confidence. And I think this is what we have to convey to the industry. The industry needs this. And also, I think that you just need to sort of, look, you're not there to hold their hand all the way through the process, but what we need to do is it is support. Show some interest in these people. They're human beings. There's nothing worse really off-putting for me when I've spent, for example, probably £50,000-60,000 in a builder's merchants, and you go in and they have no interest in you at all, and I feel massively let down. I feel as if they've really cheated me. They've used me. They've just taken it, and then they forgot about me. And that's how I felt, man. That's how I felt, and I think that's wrong. Because for me as an individual, I always value everybody, and I do. And I don't know where my energy comes from, but I never forget. A bit like an elephant, I never forget the feeling. May not remember names, but the feeling, the sensation that I have with that. And I just, not necessarily being let down. You want to be valued. You want to be recognised. You want to say, if people can't remember, I think you got to learn to go. I know your name. Remind me, because I've seen you in here before. But they don't, and they don't talk to you. If somebody used to walk in the store, what I'd like to see somebody say, "I'll be with you once." I remember being up in Stratford, and I went into not Stratford, near Warwickshire anyway. So I went into a juicing store, and there was a young lady on this desk. I'm going to say something good about a lady at the moment, and this lady. I can say something good about a lady. And this lady, very young lady, she said to me, she was on the phone, she was serving a customer, and because they had to do all these things all at once, and she said to me, "1 second, I'll be with you now." She recognised me instantly, not recognised me, but knew that I was there and knew that, and I said, "It's fine, no problem at all." And then she'd come over and she'd say, "Well, if you can't get this one, we can get that one, what do you like me to do? I can phone these up if you want." She'll make a phone call. She was on the board. She was on the board. The energy. And I think that's what we need to do is to have that. I'd love to spend my day on a desk. I would show people how people like to be looked after.
Good.
Sorry, what's your favourite slurry, John? James Sharp. Well, I think, James, to be honest with you, I think a slurry that that's going to work. I've mixed lots of my own slurries up in the past, and I'm not sure that they sort of because they put slowing agents in these products as well. That's the thing. They put slowing agents up, so you don't want it to go off too fast. Don't mix too much. Always mix what you can. Always mix what you can handle. That's the thing about it. Ian Crawford said porcelain looks great, but slippery.
Shouldn't be. All of ours is what they call R11, which stands for Ramp Test 11.
Ramp Test 11.
Yeah, so they actually get people on an angled piece of paving, and they see how long it takes before they slip. That's what the R stands for. Ramp.
So the slip test. And do they actually do that?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you've actually got someone in a harness with holding onto rails, and they keep on tilting it until...
Is that a British standard R11 that's actually done here, or is done in these other countries? Where does this all happen?
Well, the ramp test is something which is European wide, and the British standards for outdoor spaces is R11 or greater. You don't find many above R11. But R11 is
and for indoor porcelain, it's about an R9, is it? Or
well, there isn't any strict measurement or British standard. Yeah, because lots of people actually like, believe it or not, glossy tiles on the floor indoors, and actually sort of glossy marbles.
What do you think of that?
Which I find quite frightening, to be honest. Okay. And I always remember as a kid, I remember someone having the very glossy tile indoors. So. No, but what we do a few tiles where you can have an indoor 10mm tile and an outdoor 20mm tile, and the indoor variant is usually sort of an R9 or R10.
Right, okay.
And the outdoor one, you want to be at least R11.
I've just thought, being at Tops all those years, did you and your dad have a favourite tile? Did your dad have a favourite tile? Yeah, come on, you must have. Was there one?
I don't know, one that was sold the most, probably.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
No, listen, there were. I think that we had very good relationships with manufacturers. So I always remember all of the Spanish manufacturers are out in sort of just outside Valencia, and. Villarreal, you know, the football team. That's absolutely. Based on tile money. That's on tile manufacturers. So yeah, I always remember going out there as a child, and.
James says, sorry. I am listening to you, and it's like I don't want to be rude, but this is a podcast. We're ruthless on here. James Sharp says, "What does the 11 stand for?" And hair lip 72. Matt sell border tiles 200 by 100. Is that Matt? Sorry. Yeah. Do you sell border tiles?
We have got cobbles coming.
Oh, picture frames, like.
Yeah, we have got porcelain cobbles coming. So
porcelain cobbles.
I know. Imagine such a thing. They're amazing. I can't remember if we've got any samples of it. But
this is the thing. I think when guys are starting laying a nice patio, it's that picture frame that makes the difference. And because are your samples cut individually, or are they aqua cut, or what are they?
They're cut individually.
Individually, okay.
From our place down in Chelmsford, we've got an office down in Chelmsford.
If you're looking for samples, Matt, can you just plug the website again? And
Stiled.com. Please go on there, or if you want any help, or if you want us to take care of the samples for you, just give us a call. Or my email address is matt@stiled.com, or contact@stiled.com is fine, and email it. And if you haven't got time to get it on the website and get samples, then we can sort it for you.
Got that little sample. The little samples come through, okay, and they actually like one. The particular one of that sample that they may be going with. If they wanted a larger sample, they'd have to pay for a larger sample because it's expensive.
No, I mean in a similar way that we've done, with you, John, is that we understand that fitters. Yeah, but I can understand how fitters want to make sure that their customers know what they're getting, and you know if you need full size samples, then we can sort something out. Basically, whether it's you pay, we share in the cost of that full size sample, and you can credit that against a future payment. We're happy to look at those sorts of arrangements. Just give us a call.
I want to keep going with this. Just quickly. If anybody, I'm going to be sending you some pictures of a finished patio soon that's been done with the Belmont. It's in a beautiful location. You'll be able to see that. We'll try and get some nice shots of that for you, and we're going to send that over to you. Would you focus that on your social media?
Of course.
There we go.
Of course.
So if you've laid any styled paving,
we want to please.
We want to see your pictures.
Yeah, I love to see
these guys want to see your pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and come to the fair.
Come to the fair. 9th of September. We'd love to see you there. There's got been lots of stuff spoken about, lots of interesting things to learn and see. We'd love to see you there.
Just remind you, this is Saturday Morning Live with Johnnyboy. That's it. We've passed the hour mark. Matt Williams of Star, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Mate. Thank you.
And we're out of here. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining. See you soon.
Bye.